Hello again. This is lesson number 4, training session number 1, Rainbows and Chameleons, which we call Fun with Colors and Personality Types. A lot of people say, well, why are we talking about this? Well, the idea here is, number 1, of these 4 colors, red, blue, green, and yellow, that we're going to talk about, everybody is a rainbow. So everybody's a combination of all 4 of these colors, but also we want to show you a way that if you can figure out who this person is, you can become a chameleon and more mimic that person and the way they like to receive information, and increase your odds of building a relationship with this person fairly quickly. So let's go through here and see if you can find out. A lot of people find this to be fun and interesting, and we use colors, by the way, because they can be mixed together. I've seen this done with birds, I've seen it done with animals, but colors give us an interesting way of saying, okay, he's a combination between a blue and a green. That's an aqua, which is what I personally am. My wife is an aqua, a combination of blue and green. Some people are really dominant, red, blue, green, or yellow. Others are combinations of 2 colors. So you can't hardly do that with an animal when you start saying, well, he's part owl and part peacock, and you start calling a person owlcock. That doesn't make any sense, but aqua makes sense to some people. All right. Now, in this presentation down below this video, you'll find a way for you to make a chart that you can figure out exactly how this is all going to work. But I'm just going to talk you through it right now, because we're going to take these 4 colors and we're going to use 4 terms, 4 traits of people to help you understand what each color means. The 4 traits are open, self-contained, direct, and indirect. So that's what you're going to be thinking about. Open, self-contained, direct, and indirect. First personality color type is yellow, meaning open and indirect. 35% of the population are yellow. Yellows are very open with their feelings, but they're also indirect. So here's what the example of that is. You ask them a question and they will answer the question and then stop. They don't offer any further explanation or information about what's going on. You're going to see a difference in that, like the blue, for instance. The yellow is known primarily as a nurturer. They are incredible, amazing people. They're the best listeners, the most dependable. They're great team players. They're patient, supportive, polite, soft-spoken, non-confrontational, easy to get along with. We have a wonderful leader in Fortune who is just as yellow as she can be, and she's one of the best leaders of the whole group, and she is so yellow. She even wears a lot of yellow. The next personality type is blue, and blue is 15% of the population. Blue is open and direct. Now what that means is they're open, and they're very direct. You ask them a question, they don't quit answering the question. They keep on answering the question, answering the question. A blue person will tell you their entire life history in the first 15 minutes you know them. They don't hold anything back, don't keep anything behind. They just keep talking and talking. The combination of open and direct also means that the blue is very confident in what they know and who they are. They become some of the highest paid people in network marketing simply because they're people, and they have a lot of confidence in themselves and a lot of belief in themselves, and it's easy to teach them. They also have one bad habit too. If they find something that's more exciting a week or 2 later, they'll go off and do something else. But if they hang around for a little while, they become real high and real successful in the business. A blue person can walk up to anybody and start a conversation, and they just love being with people. They'll do anything that's exciting, fun, fast-paced. Wherever a blue is got to be something going on. The way to get to a blue is to start talking about the fun you're going to have at the next convention, and the fun you're going to have when you go on the next cruise together, and something that's really going to be exciting about what's going on at certain places. Now, let's move on to the green. The green is an exceptional person because they're going to be people who are going to offer great credibility to your group. Green is indirect, like the yellow, and self-contained. They're indirect and self-contained. They make up 35% of the population, and you have to understand something about green. When you're talking to a green, they're trying to figure out, they act skeptical, and sometimes they're the most skeptical of all, but they're not really as skeptical as you might think in many cases. They're just very, very, very going to go deep with you, and a friend of mine says get over in the bushes with you, and they're going to try to figure out why you're asking the questions and how it works and why it works and all that kind of stuff. So with a green, you just need to take a breath, slow down, just be willing to stay there and give lots and lots of detail and explain things thoroughly as you go on through, and they'll get it. You're never going to sell a green. You're only going to give them more detail. They spend so much time in their head trying to figure things out, they get caught up in what we call paralysis by analysis. They just study and study and study. If you have an appointment with a green, you better be on time, because they're very punctual people and they're always pride themselves on being correct. So that's another reason that greens can be good for you, because the people that meet the green people in your organization, once they come in, they'll come in. Once they come in, they are the source of information, and people just look up to them and think about them as being the person they're the go-to guy, and they make great team players. Don't try to sell a green, as I said a little while ago. Just let them sell themselves. They're going to take the detail. You're not going to sell them the first time. You're only going to be able to explain as much as you can about the opportunity. Give them lots of websites to go to, lots of brochures to read, and they will read every single brochure you give them. They will go to every single website. They'll just engulf the information. The next, and I think I told you, they're 35% of the population as well. The next color that we talk about are the reds. The reds are really interesting people. They're 15% of the population. They're hard to coach, hard to teach. They demand respect. You don't ever go to a red does not ever come to your office. You always go to their office, and they are the people who they believe they can be the top person in the company just off the bat. I mean, within 5 minutes of the presentation, if they start liking what they hear, they know that they can be at the top of the company. There's no question in their mind. They're very direct, and but they're also self-contained, and they don't want you to know their weaknesses. They just want you to know that they're going to be good, and they're highly motivated. They are highly motivated by money, and you've got to be fast-paced and to the point with a red person. You're going to have a small window of opportunity to get their attention, or they'll start drifting on you. They're going to also try to be in control of the conversation, so you have to be able to weave your story in between their questions. They're going to be a question a minute coming from a red person. You've got to stop, be able to turn the thing around and ask them questions. If you don't learn how to ask questions of a red person, you'll never get anywhere, because they'll ask all the questions, and primarily they'll ask a lot of questions that don't really mean anything, and all of a sudden they're saying they don't understand it or don't like it or don't whatever, and the problem is you've never really even given them a lot of good information, because you've let them control the conversation, because you've got to be really careful with them. But if you can find a really, really good red person that's coachable and teachable, they'll go out and sponsor, and what you got to do is take their people they sponsor. They don't want to stop and train anybody. They want to go sponsor somebody else. So what you got to do with a red person is to grab a hold of everybody they sponsor and start training them and making them a part of the organization, and they can be worth a lot of money to you. They're very, very money motivated. They are absolutely motivated by money. The more money you can show them, the more they can do it, because they're absolutely convinced they can, and most of the time they're absolutely correct. There are not a lot of reds in network marketing, but the ones that are there have really, really, really done well. Now, there's a whole lot more information that you can learn about personality colors, but this is kind of the basics for you to get started in your first 30 days. I just wanted you to get an idea of what all this means, and we'll have more information at Fortune Train on this, and you can go learn more or whatever. But just remember two things. Number one, once again, everybody is a rainbow, so everybody's a mixture of these four colors. And number two, what you want to learn to do is to be a chameleon. If you're talking to a red, you're going to have to change your pace a little bit. If you're talking to a green, you got to slow down and give a lot of detail. If you're talking to a yellow, you got to start out with family. If you're talking to a blue, you got to start about fun, excitement, trips, how much money they can make. A blue is interested in money as well. But all these different things will give you a clue, is when you sit down with somebody, you can kind of judge that person, and you'd be surprised how before long you'll be able to do this. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next session.